This is Comic Support, where we give you upcoming comic book stories for new readers and comic book superfans. In this issue, I have 10 Marvel comic titles coming to your local comic shops this June. Marvel Comics' fresh start continues here. Welcome to Comic Support. I'm Leon Scorpius, and together we're going to talk about Marvel Comics' fresh start titles beginning this June. As always, a special thank you to Taymation Studios. You can catch all of our latest videos by subscribing and clicking the bell. If you like Comic Support and you enjoyed this issue, give us a like and comment below on what comics you'll be picking up. Marvel Comics' fresh start continues this June. And as always, I want to give you recommendations so that you can go to your local comic book shop and reserve these titles and add them to your pull box. Comic book shops lately have been ordering very tight. I went to my local comic book shop and I noticed even on a Wednesday, most of the best titles are already taken off the shelves. So if you're not pre-ordering, you may miss out on a physical copy. Of course, if you don't have a local comic book shop, you can always pick them up digitally, but you're gonna miss out on the lovely art and having a fresh smelling comic book right in front of you. So here are 10 picks coming into this June that you should add to your pull box. Number 1. If you're like me and everyone else and enjoy the Black Panther movie, you're gonna enjoy my first pick, which is Wakanda Forever Amazing Spider-Man #1. This book features the fierce Dora Milaje teaming up with Spider-Man. It's an exciting book that allows us to continue our adventures in Wakanda, but also allowing teaming up with other superheroes. So this June, you're gonna get a Spider-Man team up, and if you continue the Wakanda Forever title in July, you'll actually be able to pick up Wakanda Forever Uncanny X-Men. And so whether it's Okoye with Peter Parker or Okoye with Nightcrawler, you're gonna have a lot of fun with this pick. My number 2 pick is Thor #1 and 2 by writer Jason Aaron. The art is by Mike Del Mundo and Christian Ward, and it is Thor Odin's son, and he is back at it again. So he has a hammer again. Maybe in these issues we'll find out about where that hammer comes from. Of course, if you're a fan of Mighty Thor Jane Foster, her story wrapped up. If you are interested in those stories, pick them up in back issues. But in this Thor, you are going to have a Jackie Chan adventure-like story. Thor is going off to find lost artifacts from Asgard. In the last story arc, we found out that Asgard fell and the gods were scattered and they're defeated, but also scattered with them are these artifacts. So is he gonna find an artifact each issue? Who knows? It sounds a lot of fun though, so I'll be picking this up for sure. Number 3, Tony Stark Iron Man #1 by Dan Slott. Our favorite comic book writer on Amazing Spider-Man has left Peter Parker behind and is now taking on the stories of Tony Stark. Tony Stark is back as Iron Man, and he is coming at you with brand new super suits. If you actually pick up Tony Stark Iron Man #1, you're gonna find 20 different covers based off of all the different Iron Man suits he's had. It's gonna be really interesting to see how many covers that are available at my local store. I think I'm most interested in some of the original Mark Iron Man suits, but there's some new suits up his sleeve as well. Dan Slott's already mentioned that he's gonna take a lot of creative liberties to bring brand new stories, and you're also gonna see some more familiar faces from Tony's past back as well. Pick number 4 is Immortal Hulk from Al Ewing, and he has already told us that this is back to the old days of horror story Hulk. So Hulk, Bruce Banner, lives with this monster inside of him, and there's no better way to hark back to the origins of the Hulk by going back and diving in and making this a horror comic. I myself, I don't really like scary stories, but I am a big fan of Bruce Banner, and so I'm very interested to see what they do here with the Immortal Hulk. Number 5 on this list is Deadpool #1 by Scotty Young. Scotty Young is one of the coolest artists out there. You can find his art anywhere from seeing X-Men babies or basically any of the baby comic variants that you find on Marvel Comics, but he is now at the writer's wheel and he is taking on Deadpool. So one thing we know is this is going to be Deadpool back in his mercenary for hire roots. So really exciting. This is, of course, going to time perfectly with the Deadpool 2 movie. So if you love Deadpool from Deadpool 2 and Deadpool 1 and Deadpool Forever and Deadpool Continues and Deadpool and Cable, all the movies they're going to make with Deadpools in the next 10 years, pick up this run and catch Scotty Young as writer on Deadpool. Pick number 6 is Ant-Man and the Wasp number 1 and 2. Both issues are coming to us in June, and this is a limited run. There is going to be 5 total, telling the story of Nadia Pym helping Scott Lang come back to Earth. So Scott Lang has been spending time with Guardians of the Galaxy out there in space, and it's time for him to come home and take a look at Earth again, and of course come back to his daughter. So it's going to be a great story to just tie up the Ant-Man and the Wasp relationship going into the movie coming up later this year. Pick number 7 is one of the comics I'm most excited about coming in June. It is Multiple Man by Matthew Rosenberg, art by Andy McDonald. This is also a limited run. There's going to be 5 issues of Multiple Man, and this is like crazy exciting because last we checked, Multiple Man died. Like every single copy of Madrox was dead from the X-Men versus Inhumans storyline, and it was terrible and it didn't make any sense. But I think we've gotten a lot of promises that Multiple Man will be able to be wrapped up in this issue, and we'll find out more. I thought he was retired and happy with Layla on a farm somewhere, and then all of a sudden he was doing research on Muir Island. What happened? So Matthew Rosenberg, I hope you tell us what happens in this limited series, and everyone else should join me on the adventure to see what happened to Multiple Man. Pick number 8 is another Deadpool comic. It is Deadpool Assassin number 1. Cullen Bunn has been one of my favorite writers lately. He's on X-Men Blue, and he has a lot of great independent titles as well. But this is one of 6, so you'll get a great Deadpool story all wrapped up. I love that Marvel Comics is doing this and telling really compartmentalized stories. I love ongoing series, but actually these limited runs have been the most exciting because it's been giving these creative teams an opportunity to tell a succinct story and blow our minds. These have been great. This is going to be the Merc in action. So Cullen Bunn, he leans kind of also horror and dark. So I'm looking forward to seeing what crazy adventures Deadpool is going to have in Cullen Bunn's hands. Pick number 9 is The Sentry number 1 by writer Jeff Lemire and art by Kim Jacinto. For those that have been reading Black Hammer, Jeff Lemire is an award-winning writer and super excited to get his hands on one of Marvel Comics' craziest superheroes. The Sentry, of course, has dual personalities. He has his superhero self and he has his dark self, the Void. And if Jeff takes on the Sentry just like he's been taking on the superheroes in Black Hammer, then we have a lot to look forward to. Pick this up, add this to your pull box for superhero adventures of epic proportions. And my number 10 pick for the month of June from Marvel Comics is Doctor Strange number 1 and 2, coming at us from the creative team of Mark Waid and Jesus Saiz. So, Doctor Strange was one of my favorite comic book heroes coming out of Avengers Infinity War. He had such a cool story arc, you had the magic, you had all these spells, but something is happening with Doctor Strange on Earth and he needs to figure it out. But the only way that he can figure it out is by going somewhere special. Wait for it. Doctor Strange in space! So we know from the previous issue that Black Panther will be in space along with his Empire of Wakanda, but now we know that Doctor Strange is going to be in space too. The cover art looks really interesting. It looks like he's going after some Infinity Stones. We know that there's some magic issues happening on Earth, so maybe he's going in space to try to figure out if there's magic in space. I know that this book will be magical, and I know that it'll be in my pull box. That is it for my new series picks from Marvel Comics this June. If you'd like to nerd out with me, follow me on Twitter at Leon Scorpius. We appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like and subscribe, and keep nerding out with us here on Comic Support. We'll see you next issue.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you want to watch more from us, click on one of the thumbnails. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep up to date with our latest shenanigans. Be sure to click the bell for notifications, and check out the description below for a link to our Patreon page. See you next time!